to The Witchy Web We Weave. I'm Alex.
I'm Alara.
And today is video 3 of the Futhark Friday rune videos. This is rune number 2, so that is Uruz. U-R-U-Z. And I will insert a picture somewhere here-ish, so everyone knows what it looks like. But basically like a really stylized sharp N or an upside down U.
Gotcha.
Very stylized upside down U. So where we were talking about Fehu being money and cattle, Uruz is wild bovine.
Oh.
Remember I was, I'm going to insert a picture of the auroch, remember that really big cattle? Mm-hmm. So that's going to go somewhere in here too, just because it's represented by that. So these were massive ass looking cattle. Like, they were kind of like, I think the closest thing we have in America is probably like the longhorn in Texas.
Yeah, but...
And that's still too small.
Yeah, you were showing me photos of, like, sizing, and, like, the person was here, and the Uruz was, like, whack.
Yeah, like, these things are bigger than, like, a man tall-wise. But a lot of bulls are pretty... Like, you don't really think how big a bull is till you see one in person sometimes.
Yeah.
So what Uruz is really, like, about is the life force and the health of somebody.
Like vitality?
Good word for it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So the first couple runes are kind of like this, where Fehu was like also ground, you know, like your home, your choices. Uruz is your health. So something else very basic, again, in that hierarchy of need stuff, but it's still very important at the end of the day. So one of the reasons that these large bovines kind of went extinct, where they were hunted basically till they went extinct, but they were where a lot of people got the whole drinking horn concept from.
Oh.
Was their horns, because I mean, imagine how big that horn was. So people were getting mad drunk off of that, I'm sure. So besides healing, so Uruz is used in healing besides being for health, and I have some stuff to show y'all here in a second. So besides that though, like you said, it was good for vitality, it's good for manifestation. So Fehu is kind of more like, wishing is not a great word, but it's more like the start of something, and Uruz is more like putting plans into motion.
Oh.
So Fehu is kind of like, I know I need more money, or I need more land, or etc. Uruz is kind of like, okay, what you gonna do about it? How are you gonna do it?
Oh, it's more action-based, or action-oriented in the way that it's looked at.
So, So one of the things that I wrote down, because I was reading between my book and online, was that the energy is very like a wild bovine, like, get out of my space. It's very... It is aggressive at times, but it's not to the point where it's just full-on aggression. It's kind of like, I'm so big, just looking at me should tell you, step off. Like, I shouldn't need to be aggressive towards you. If I'm aggressive, like, you already went too far kind of thing.
It's kind of like it's almost like a presence of aura, is what it calls to mind with me, is because presence. You can see, like, a big man. And there are some big men that you just look at them like, oh, you're really big. And then there are some big men that you look at and you're like, oh, I'm not going to bother you. I'm just going to leave you be. Maybe it's a presence or an aura. Yeah,
for sure. It's just definitely that, do I really need to do anything physical before you get the picture? So that's going to come up here in a second with the negative side of the rune also. But one of the things I really liked, and this is, I like Disney, so I liked this example a lot, was Princess Tiana. Before she was a princess, at the very beginning, actually, like...
That was a hard working woman.
Yeah, the line her dad said is actually, like, super spot on to this rune. It's... because she's wishing on the star, remember? Because she had just read that story with Charlotte, and she goes, oh, look, I'm going to wish on the star, Dad. And Dad goes to the extent of, you wish and have dreams, but know that you have to put work behind it to really get where you want to go. So that's kind of like, Fehu's the wishing on the star. Uruz is, what are you bringing to the table to make this happen? So a lot of runes have, like, a one they're related to, so Uruz is definitely kind of hand in hand with Fehu.
It almost reminds me of the old style, like the cattle drawn wagon, like the bovine actually drawing, or
And I could see that, yeah. And then these are some of what eventually became the domesticated cattle. So again, it's related in that, man took something and domesticated it. So what would they do for land or for money and wealth? They took something, made it so they could trade it, and it was easier to move around. So they bred it to be smaller, which is where we got our normal bull, cow, whatever thing now. I'm going to show some little things that I found over my years of where I've actually seen Uruz printed. So first thing are these sunglasses.
What?
Oh. Yeah, these are diesel sunglasses, ironically. Got them at Costco many, many moons ago. They are beat up, like the glare kind of protective layer is beat up. They're old. They are like 4 or 5 years old. But I thought they were real neat because of that. That is Uruz. Oh. Don't know if they meant to do that. Don't know where they got that because there are a lot of runes used in cattle marking for ranches.
Oh.
Especially Fehu.
Well, I guess that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
So it's just kind of funny that there's still a lot of runes around, even if people don't know what they are. But I thought that was neat. And then many years ago, we've already talked about this store, but the Sword in Phoenix. One of the first things I ever bought, like the very first time, I'm going to take all my stuff out, was that.
Oh.
And that is, I forget the name of the guy, but I can probably insert it somewhere in the description. But he makes several of these coins. This one was specifically for healing, and it has like a little kind of mantra on the back there. But it's covered in Uruz. And so and then he makes ones for love and for more different things, and they're all really cool looking.
Yeah, it even has the traditional, like the snakes winding around the...
What are those called?
I know what they're called, but my brain is going put right now.
Right?
So.
I'm just like... The medical staff with the snakes twining. I'm sure we can show what's up. So the other kind of good stuff before we get into the bad is the growth through conflict. Also kind of goes with that, like, again, like Princess Tiana did a lot of jobs. She grew through necessity.
Yeah.
Because, Dad died and she had a dream that she needed to accomplish.
Does it kind of go along with that idea of whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger?
A little bit. I can see that. So it's kind of like, when you go through adversity and you come out the other side, something good should have happened. Whether you learned a lesson.
Yeah, or growth occurred.
Yeah, so whether you learned a lesson, even if it was a hard lesson, you still learned something, hopefully. So that's kind of another good thing that kind of goes with it. So it's health, vitality, learning through struggle. And then, like I said, it's paired with Fehu through the start and then the actual...
The follow-through.
The follow-through, yep, there we go. And then the last little bit was kind of going back to the whole asserting yourself. It's the right to be able to assert yourself.
Oh.
So, yeah, you might have, like, presence, or you might not have presence, but it's also still, like, this is my space. I have the right to assert myself. So I liked that part, too, because the energy, again, I'm going to get into the negative, but when you have to be assertive... You have to be assertive, even if it's not something you like doing or you do on a regular. Like, there's times when assertiveness is a necessity. And that's kind of what this rune allows you to do in a space where it's appropriate, basically. Like, you need to assert yourself, here you go. Going into the negative, if you over-assert yourself, or you don't know when to pull back, that kind of energy is kind of where this Uruz is coming from. If, say, this rune was upside down, we're going to get into readings much later, but if this rune were upside down in a reading, for instance, it could mean bad health.
Oh.
So, kind of like how runes, in the most part, if they have a reversal, it is kind of the exact opposite. So, if you get it right side up, it's your health, your vitality, you're doing good in these aspects. If it's upside down, and it's physical and mental health. It's all encompassing health.
Gotcha.
So, because sometimes, when you think of, like, chakras or whatever, like, you would think physical and other is together but separate.
Yeah.
Uruz is all your health. Mental,
like
physical,
plane.
Spiritual health, all that. All together is Uruz.
Oh.
So, upside down could mean you might be physically healthy, but maybe spiritually something's wrong, or mentally something's wrong. Or vice versa. Mentally you're good, physically you might be having a real bad cold or something. I don't know. So it can kind of go either way. In that same line, being inconsistent.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like having the plan of Fehu, not following through.
Gotcha.
So, if you have the startup and you just don't put it into action, basically, is kind of where that reversal energy is kind of coming into. Or, like you said, like kind of with tarot, if you don't do reversals, but the question asked, something comes up and it's not a good sign.
Yeah.
That would also be something else. Another word that they used on that one was obsession. So again, I think kind of with that energy a little bit more than the health side.
Like not knowing when something is too much?
Yeah, or just kind of being overbearing, I feel, too.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then again, with the whole, like, the energy, like, not only overasserting yourself, but misdirecting it. So, like, this happens a lot with people that don't have that they need to assert themselves a lot. Sometimes they overassert themselves to people that, I don't want to say don't care necessarily, but they might overassert themselves, like, say you have, like, a space, and anytime family or something comes over and they always just treat you like a child. Or a spouse, or what. Like, someone in your space is not respecting your space as your own. But then say it's, like, my family member, and then say she comes over to my space, and then I, for no reason, assert my dominance in my space to her. Like, unnecessarily. Like, where's that coming from? It's just, like, some people are so... And that's kind of, in a way, that obsession, too. Just kind of like, this is my space, and they don't know how to turn it off.
Gotcha.
So that can kind of come in, too.
So almost territoriality.
Yeah, so it's...
Is that a word? Territorialism.
Yeah. Something in that line, We read a lot, so we just kind of jumble words together.
We do. We just start creating our own words sometimes.
Oh, man. But no, so yeah, I think it's like that territory, my space. If you don't, like, there's a time and a place. Like, yeah, that is your space, but are you sharing it or are people invading it? You gotta know the difference. Because if you're sharing it willingly and you're still attacking people, like, what's the point of sharing it? Like, just don't have people over.
Yeah.
And there's people like that. There's people with houses and apartments that I know that are like, we can go out for lunch, but I don't want people in my space. Because they might have come from not having enough space, or they just don't like other people in their personal space.
That just sounds like shadow that someone needs to work through.
Yeah, probably. I just feel like a lot of people don't care to, and they just don't have people over.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's kind of where that negative comes from too much of a good thing almost. Like, too much of something when you're supposed to use it sparingly.
See, that's my opinion on just about everything, is just about in everything in the world, there needs to be a moderation to it. Because I can't think of hardly anything where too much of it is not a bad thing.
Yeah, very true. So yeah, but that's what this one is. It's just follow through and do what you gotta do, pretty much. And be healthy. But yeah, that was about it for that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. These are gonna be varying lengths depending what all I gotta say about them, honestly, but... And again, very basic videos. It's not all-encompassing. So if I don't mention something and you happen to know something else, sorry. Yeah, these videos would be wild. I've read articles that are several pages long, and I'm not gonna just sit here and read articles to you. No. That's pointless for everybody.
But I would be interested to see if other people have different associations also for Uruz, to see... if y'all do have some other associations that you have in regards to Uruz along with whatever she has mentioned, I would love to hear about it. Leave it in the comment below. We would love to, to get some communication.
Hell yeah. Or if you guys have anything else, just say hey.
I know.
Honestly.
It's like, at this point, I feel like I'm calling into the void.
Right? Tears. Just say hello. Even if you just watch it, just say, hey, we watched your video. It wasn't terrible. Or if it is terrible, let us know too, I guess.
Yeah, we gotta improve.
We're working on it. We got a tripod coming, so hopefully that'll help with the setup. And
the overall picture.
Yeah. Here's hoping. But yeah, that was it. We'll catch you on the next time, y'all.
Alright.
Bye.
Bye.